Okay. So have you ever, like, thought about Hindus and cows?
Yeah, it's one of those things that pops up, right? Like in cartoons or...
Yeah. You hear people say stuff, and it always makes you wonder what's the deal with
Exact.
that whole thing, right? And that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
We
It's a
are.
really fascinating look at a major world religion.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones out there. And a lot of people have
Yeah.
a very kind of surface level understanding of Hinduism.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to get stuck on certain images.
Totally.
So we're going to unpack all of that
Yeah.
and like get to the heart of this really complex and fascinating
Yeah.
relationship between Hindus and cows.
Because you can't just say Hindus worship cows and leave it at that, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's way more complicated than that.
Way more nuanced, yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe you've seen a documentary or read something about like Hindus bowing down to cows or something.
Right.
But we're going to find out, is it really that simple?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Because Hinduism is a bit like, you know when you go to one of those all-you-can-eat buffets?
Right.
There's just so much variety.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's an all-you-can-eat
Yeah.
buffet of like spiritual
Uh,
traditions and philosophies.
Absolutely. And the role of the cow, that's going to look different depending on which table you're sitting at in this buffet.
Okay, so no simple answers here. We're diving deep
We are.
into this cosmic buffet.
You are going deep.
All right, well, let's start unpacking this cow conundrum then. Where does this whole connection come from?
Okay, so the idea that Hindus revere cows, this has been around for ages, right? But it's often been seen through a very specific lens, kind of a Western lens,
Hmm.
that doesn't really get the whole picture.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is it's tied up with the history, with the ancient texts, all the philosophical ideas that make up Hinduism. And it's less about like literally seeing cows as gods
Yeah.
and more about understanding their symbolic importance.
Right. So it's like this really rich tapestry, right?
It is
Hinduism and like the cow is like one thread.
it's a thread that runs through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very important thread, I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not the only one.
No.
And to like really see how this works, we need to look at the different
Yeah.
branches of Hinduism,
Hmm.
right? And how they each view the cow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break it down. Let's start with Vaishnavism.
Okay.
Okay, now this branch of Hinduism focuses on Vishnu, and specifically his incarnation as Krishna.
Oh, Krishna. Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
kind of like the OG cow whisperer, right? Like always hanging out with the cows.
That's a great way to put it. He's often depicted in those early stories, those pastoral settings,
Yeah.
the land of Vrindavan. And he's not, sitting on a throne in a palace. He's out there with the cows playing his flute.
Right, right.
And that's super important for Vaishnavas.
So for them, like loving cows is a way to like get closer to Krishna.
Exactly, because he chose to be with them, right? And the cow becomes this symbol, this humble, nurturing, peaceful presence, kind of like Krishna himself.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like a spiritual connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so how does this like reverence actually play out in their daily lives?
Okay, so imagine you're visiting a Vaisnava temple, like the Guruvayur temple in Kerala. You might see special rituals just for the cows,
Oh, wow.
adorned with turmeric and flower garlands.
Beautiful.
And the temple cow sometimes gets the first bite of grass even before the offerings to the deities.
So they're really like treated with so much respect.
Oh, yeah?
And there's also ISKCon, right?
Yes, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Yes.
They've got these farm communities worldwide where cow protection is like a central idea.
And they like provide milk for the temples, right?
Exactly. And their founder, Srila Prabhupada, he said that cow protection is the most important business of human society.
Wow, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, it shows how seriously they take it.
Yeah, and I know there are festivals too that celebrate this connection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
So there's Gokastami, which marks the day when Krishna was old enough to take the cows out to graze. It's like he's the king of the cows for a day. And then there's Govardhan Puja, which celebrates Krishna lifting a mountain to protect the cows and the people from a huge storm.
Oh, wow. That's pretty epic.
Yeah, and in places like Vrindavan and Mathura, these festivals are massive. Like
Yeah.
the streets are packed, cows are decorated. It's a big celebration.
Wow, so for Vaisnavas, it's really all about Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And the cows are revered as his, like, best buddies.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's fascinating. So now let's move on to Shaivism
Okay.
and their main deity, Shiva.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty famous connection with a bull too, right?
That's right. Nandi, the cosmic bull, but he's not just like Shiva's ride.
Oh.
He's like his main devotee, his gatekeeper.
Okay.
You always see Nandi right in front of Shiva in temples, like eternally contemplating the divine.
So you got to go through Nandi to get to Shiva.
Yeah, you could say that, and the connection goes even deeper. Some texts describe Shiva himself with like cow hair necklaces, ash from cow dung fires, even wearing bull hide.
Huh. So it's a different vibe than with Krishna, right? It's a little bit more intense, maybe.
Yeah, it's got that raw power that Shaivism is known for.
So how does this play out in their practices? Do they do anything specific with cows?
Yeah, so one thing is they use cow products in rituals, like during Abhishekam.
What's that?
It's a ceremonial bathing of the lingam, which represents Shiva's creative energy, and they use milk, curd, ghee, honey, and sugar.
Okay.
And some more esoteric Shiva traditions even see the 5 products of the cow, like milk, curd, ghee, urine, and dung, as representing the 5 faces of Shiva.
Okay, so that might sound a little strange to some people.
Yeah.
But it's all about the symbolism.
Exactly. It's not meant to be taken literally.
Okay, are there any specific festivals or like ways they show reverence to cows or bulls?
Yeah, definitely. So in Tamil Nadu, they have Matu Pongal, which is all about honoring cattle.
Okay.
They decorate the bulls with paint and fabrics. It's really cool. And in Varanasi, feeding a black bull is like feeding Shiva himself. And in Nepal, some people believe that certain black cows are descended from Nandi.
Oh, wow.
So even though they might not worship the cow in a traditional sense, that respect is definitely there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. And it's got that Shaivite edge to it.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got Krishna's friendship, Shiva's power. Now, what about Shaktism and the goddess?
Ah, yes. In Shaktism, the cow takes on a very maternal role
Okay.
because the focus is on the goddess in all her forms, Durga Kali Lakshmi, and the cow embodies that nurturing motherly energy.
I can see that.
And this leads to the idea of Kamanhinu, the wish-granting cow.
Wait, a wish-granting cow. Tell me more about that.
Oh, yeah, she's like a legendary figure in Hinduism. She's said to have emerged from the churning of the cosmic ocean.
Wow.
And she's not just about granting wishes, she represents the whole cosmos.
Oh.
Like, in art, she's shown with a cow's body, a woman's head, wings, a peacock's tail.
Wow.
Her legs represent the 4 Vedas, her horns, the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and her eyes, the sun and the moon.
So she's like the ultimate mother figure.
Exactly the source of all abundance and nourishment.
So how do Shaktas actually treat cows in their lives?
So during Durga Puja, you might see cows decorated with red saris and gold ornaments alongside the goddess.
Wow.
And in some temples, especially in Bengal and Assam, they have a special cow called Gau Mata, the cow mother, who gets the first offering in any ritual.
Well, they really do treat them like mothers.
Yeah. And a lot of Shaktas believe that protecting cows is like worshiping the goddess.
That makes sense.
And you have groups like the Kamakya Temple Trust that run cow shelters, and the Barahat Mata Goshala Network connects cow care with women's empowerment.
Oh, that's cool. So it's really all about those motherly vibes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've had Krishna, Shiva, the goddess.
Yeah.
Now, what about Smartism? They seem to be a little more philosophical, right?
That's right. They're the thinkers of Hinduism.
Okay.
They worship multiple deities as different forms of the same divine reality.
Okay.
And for them, the cow isn't a god itself, but a symbol of universal consciousness and interconnectedness.
So they're not so much about the rituals, but more about what the cow represents.
Exactly. They go deeper into the meaning.
Okay, so what does the cow mean to them?
Well, they follow the Shanmata approach, which reveres 6 main deities: Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Ganesha, Surya, and Kartikeya. And they see the cow as embodying aspects of all of them.
Right.
Like the milk represents knowledge, the calmness represents enlightenment, the 4 legs, the 4 Vedas.
Wow, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, and Adi Shankara, a really important Smarta philosopher, said that protecting cows purifies the intellect, and even working in a goshala, a cow shelter, helps you overcome your ego.
Wow, so it's like cow appreciation with a philosophical twist.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about Arya Samaj. They're known for being pretty practical, right?
Yeah, they're all about the real-world benefits of cows.
Okay.
They believe that focusing too much on the cow as divine can actually take away from its value in society.
Interesting.
They say that true reverence is in using cows wisely.
So it's less about spirituality and more about what the cow can do for us.
Yeah, they're into what they call cow science. You know, the benefits of cow dung as fertilizer milk for nutrition, the strength of bulls for farming.
Okay.
Historically, they were really important in starting some of India's first organized cattle welfare programs.
Really?
Yeah, and they linked that with social reforms like women's education and ending the caste system.
Wow. So they really see the cow as like a key part of society.
Yeah, and even today, modern Arya Samaj groups often have this practical approach. They see cows as important for the environment.
Okay, so it's like respect to the spreadsheet.
Yeah, they like to be organized.
All right, and finally, let's touch on the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, a newer Hindu tradition. What's their take on cows?
Okay, so for them, nonviolence is huge, especially towards cows. They consider it the highest dharma.
Okay, so no harming cows at all.
Yeah, it's a core part of their beliefs.
And I've heard they have some pretty amazing cow shelters.
Oh, yeah. Their goshalas are top-notch. They often have climate control, automatic feeding systems, even health apps for the cows.
Wow, that's high tech.
Yeah, the BAPS wing is known for this. They have grooming stations and even play devotional music for the cows.
So they're really pampered.
Yeah, they really believe in taking care of them, and they combine this traditional reverence with modern science.
Interesting.
They do research on indigenous breeds and teach kids about cow care.
So it's like a blend of old and new.
Yeah, they're bringing cow care into the 21st century.
Okay, so after this whirlwind tour of Hinduism, do we have an answer to the big question? Do Hindus worship cows?
So the key takeaway is that Hindus don't generally worship cows in the same way they worship gods and goddesses.
Okay.
Cows are sacred symbols, but what they represent varies depending on the tradition.
Yeah.
For Vaisnavas, they're Krishna's friends. For Shaivites, they're connected to Shiva's power for Shaktas. They're mother figures for Smartas. They represent universal consciousness for Arya Samaj. They're vital for society. And for the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, they deserve the utmost protection.
So it's not as simple as just saying yes or no.
Right.
It's about understanding the context. And I guess some practices might seem a little weird to outsiders, like bathing a lingam with milk or using cow urine in rituals.
Yeah, but it's all symbolic. It's not about the literal act.
Right, like Christians don't worship the cross itself.
Exactly. Or Muslims, the Kaaba. It's about what those things represent.
Yeah, and it's not just about the spiritual side either, right? There are practical reasons why cows are so important in India.
Oh, yeah. Historically, they were essential for survival. They provided food, fuel, fertilizer, and they're gentle animals, so easy to work with.
Right, and even today that connection's still there.
Absolutely. It's a mix of tradition, spirituality, and practicality.
Okay, so one last thing I got to ask about cow tipping. Is that a real thing?
Oh, man. That's a myth. Cows don't sleep standing up in a way you could tip them over.
Good to know. Always
Yeah.
wondered about that.
It's a funny image, though.
It is.
So the next time you see a cow, just remember it might not be worshipped, but it's definitely respected.
Yeah, and for lots of different reasons.
Absolutely. It's a great example of how diverse Hinduism is.
Well, this has been fascinating. Really eye-opening.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's all about exploring these different perspectives.
It is, and it makes you think about how different cultures value certain animals.
Yeah, why do we see some animals as sacred and others not? It's a good question to ponder.
It is something to think about for sure. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive today.
It was my pleasure.
And keep those big questions coming.